I tested literally every single weapon in the Black Ops 7 Zombies Beta, taking them all to triple pack-a-punch legendary rarity and filling out a brand new DPS spreadsheet, all in an effort to figure out which gun is actually the best. Now, before we get into this test, I want to be honest, this is definitely not the most scientifically sound test that I've ever done, mainly because in order to test all of these weapons as quickly as I did, I would have to spin the mystery box to get some of these weapons, especially because some of them aren't unlockable right now, which means that there is a chance that randomly some attachments might have rapid fire, some attachments might have the CHF barrel equivalent, which means that my damage per shot might be a little inconsistent compared to what you have. So please let me know if I've got any of these numbers wrong and I can correct them in the future. Also keep in mind that we do not have the augments unlocked specifically for Deadshot and Double Tap. And with Black Ops 7 Zombies allowing us 2 minor augments, there's a great chance that we're going to be able to increase these DPSs once the full game releases. But now let's get into the spreadsheet. So here we have all of our weapons. Here we have the per shot damage. Again, that's legendary triple pack-a-punched, although that could be with or without rapid fire or the CHF barrel equivalent, I don't know. Like I said, because I got them from the mystery box. Here we have the rate of fire. The way I tested this is I shot into the sky for an entire magazine of ammo, and then I went to my editing software and I saw how long that took, and I did some calculations and I got this. Do some more math and then we can calculate our damage per second. I also did elemental damage per second, but I didn't test that out on the bear for every single weapon. I just calculated it because it is a 50% bonus for that elemental damage. So let's start with the assault rifles. Believe it or not, these are actually some of the best guns in the game right now. With the MXR-17, that's the SCAR type of weapon, coming in at nearly 68,000 DPS. Then we have the Peacekeeper Mark I, very solid at 65,000 DPS, and then the M15 Model 0 coming in at 60,000 DPS, which believe it or not is above average. Moving on to the SMGs, you could see how quickly we fall. The best one, of course, is the Razor 9mm, the one we can't unlock, the one you have to get out of the mystery box, and it's only 57,000 DPS. Then it's the Dravik 45, then it's the Raiden 45K, that 45K meaning, hey, you have 45,000 DPS, good luck killing anything. But don't worry, it does get better. We're gonna do some theoretical calculations to see what this would be like with augments, and believe me, it gets a lot better. Moving on to the shotguns, the M10 Breacher, while fun and has really good one-shot potential, especially if you have a really good hipfire spread, which is kind of hard to do. Unfortunately, the very slow rate of fire means that its DPS isn't too great. The Echo 12, on the other hand, has decent damage and a decent DPS, and I will say this RPM, this rate of fire, is including the entire magazine. Whereas with the Echo 12, it has that special pack-a-punch effect where you can shoot 4 rounds really quickly and then you have to like switch the chamber. That DPS is actually quite good. So if you're sitting here thinking, donuts, the Echo 12 feels a lot better than that, you're right, it does. Additionally, like in Black Ops 6, the shotguns do have different damage ranges that are relatively close, and this damage is in the second damage range. There is a closer damage range that gets you nearly double this damage, and that is really, really powerful. Now, of course, we don't have double standard for these shotguns, so that could greatly increase their DPS once the full game releases. The one LMG we have is decently solid, has great damage, one of the best damages in the game, slow rate of fire, unfortunately, but coming out to 58,000 DPS. Now, everybody loves the M8A1, and it does have really good damage, but overall, the rate of fire of the entire magazine is a little slow. It being a burst weapon, that's no surprise, so it does bring down the DPS a little bit, but just like the Echo 12, this burst fire within the M8A1 is very fast, and so per burst, if you're doing 4 shots of this 5,000 damage really quickly, it is going to feel really good. Now, the sniper rifles are where we get interesting, because the VS Recon, with that amazing hip fire spread you can see in the gameplay, I have a steady aim laser on it, and it's nearly perfect accuracy hip fire. I love this pack-a-punch effect, and it's dealing 46,000 damage per shot. That is absolutely fantastic. Plus you add in the FMJ penetration damage, combine that with the new double tap augment, I could see this being really good, but unfortunately the rate of fire is really slow, so the DPS suffers greatly. But I hope we're all smart enough to understand that this DPS is assuming that you're only shooting 1 target at a time and you have perfect accuracy, so these numbers don't accurately reflect the actual gameplay. Speaking of accurately reflecting the gameplay, the XR3 Ion is amazing, dealing nearly 38,000 damage per shot, and this is also a burst fire weapon, so that rounds per minute greatly decreases. However, within the burst itself, it has a 2,400 rounds per minute, and yes, each bullet is dealing 38,000 damage, meaning that per burst, you're dealing over 1,000,000 DPS. It's really silly, it's completely impractical, but it is one of the best weapons, if not the best weapon in the game right now. But it also suffers in terms of ammo, and don't worry, we'll talk about it. But first we need to talk about the Jaeger and the Coda. The Jaeger shotgun pistol, really fun, didn't do a kimbo, just thought of that right now, I apologize. 250 rounds per minute, 10,000 damage per shot, 43,000 DPS, it's pretty bad, it's pretty on the low range. You really start noticing it after that round 35, but for some strange reason, the Coda 9, which is like the Cap 45, is dealing 6,000 damage per shot. I don't know, I got it out of the box because we can't unlock it yet. I don't know if this has a crazy CHF barrel. I don't know if this has something crazy rapid fire on it. I don't know if there's other attachments that change anything, but having over 1,000 RPM with only 6,000 damage, which I'll remind you, some of the fastest firing SMGs only have 2,000 damage per shot. This Coda 9 results in 120,000 DPS, which would be one of the best guns in Black Ops 6 Zombies, let alone nearly doubling every other weapon's strength here in Black Ops 7. Again, don't know if this is a glitch or a bug, or if they just haven't gotten around to tuning the weapons. Hopefully this helps. If you get the Coda 9 out of the box, take it because it's awesome. And I gotta say, I love the Cap 45 from Black Ops 4. I know it was from Black Ops 2, but they did it justice in Black Ops 4, and it's so good to see it so good here in Black Ops 7. And let's talk about the ARC M1. This is a very strange weapon, very cool weapon. This is not really a launcher. I mean, it is a launcher, but I don't think you're supposed to use it like a launcher because it has a special pack-a-punch effect, similar to the Dissector disc gun back in Black Ops 6, where it has basically infinite penetration. It will land and explode and deal damage with splash damage, but you are going to get 14,000 damage per zombie, and that damage is not mitigated at all with your collaterals, meaning if you line up zombies, you could just decimate the entire horde. It has 28 rounds, so it's very limited use, and you can only fire 4 shots really quickly before it overheats. So when you look at this 100,000 DPS, keep in mind that is the 4 shots really rapidly, and so again, we have to use our brains. When we see this really big number, we have to understand that practically speaking, it's going to function very differently than that. But just like the Dissector, this is going to be really fun, and hopefully there's some fun ways, some double tap augments to get us some ammo back so we can use this for a little bit longer than the 28 rounds that it has. And then finally, we have the Ray Gun Mark II. Ray gun, it has splash damage. This is the biggest splash damage I could find. I couldn't get it to headshot. I don't know if that was just me not aiming right, but this was the highest number that I got. A very slow rate of fire, so that was a very slow DPS, but you've got to remember it has splash damage, so it's actually going to be much more effective than that. Still not great, still not back to Cold War levels of amazing ray gun, but it's still functional. But now the Ray Gun Mark II with 23,700 damage, 443 RPM, that is including the entire magazine, not the burst. Even with that in mind, it's still coming in at 175,000 DPS. The Ray Gun Mark II is definitely the best gun on farm survival. But now I want to take a little bit of a look at the kills per second at health cap. From the numbers that I've seen, zombies have the same amount of health as they did in Black Ops 6. If that changes, don't worry, I will change the spreadsheet. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and organize this. This is kills per second. So obviously the stuff at the top here, the Ion, the Ray Gun, the Coda, they're going to have the best kills per second. Like I said, that Coda would be awesome even in Black Ops 6. And outside of the Ray Gun Mark II, outside of that sniper rifle and that launcher, the best weapons are going to be all of the assault rifles and then that LMG. But even those guys are killing 1 zombie per second at the high rounds. Now that's not terrible, but it is significantly worse than what we have in Black Ops 6. And so what I decided to do, this is very rough numbers. These are not accurate whatsoever. So what I did is I took these numbers as my base, and I know that all of these numbers were tested with double tap and specifically Deadshot. And if Deadshot works the same way, it gets you a 10% increase in your critical damage, which is what this is. So with that information, I did some math. If this is our regular damage, I created a formula to remove the Deadshot bonus because I know that Deadshot with the dead head augment is a 20% increase now. I then added 5% for a theoretical CHF barrel. Some CHF barrels in Black Ops 6 do 3%, some of them do like 8% or 10%, so I just kind of guessed this is a very random number. And then with a double tap augment, I know this is rate of fire, but a percentage increase to your damage versus a percentage increase to your rate of fire, I don't believe matters, at least in terms of the raw DPS, which is what I'm really really after here. So I did a 20% increase just in case we're running double time or double or nothing or any other like general DPS increase. And so with all of that in mind, here are the brand new damage numbers. But like I said, most importantly, you're going to want to look at these DPSs. And if we go ahead and sort these by the top to the least, we have obviously the sniper rifle, the ray gun. The order of everything is the same, but the feel of it is going to be different. You can see now these assault rifles, 89,000 DPS, 85 DPS, 79 DPS. These are all really good feeling weapons in Black Ops 6. Even in these 70,000 DPS, the LMG, these SMGs here, the M8A1, those are still going to feel decent. But then after that, the Echo 12, that Raiden 45K, the Jaeger, the M10 Breacher, they're going to start feeling pretty weak. And I want to do a thorough test of both when we upgrade and how it feels throughout the rounds. But if you're going to ask me my gut reaction to this, personally, I would love to see a 10 to 15, maybe 20% increase to either some of these damages or some of these rate of fires. Because what I've discovered throughout Black Ops 6, in listening to what you guys think feels good and what I think feels good in terms of what weapons are good and what DPS is good, guns start feeling really good around 80,000 DPS. 70 to 80,000 DPS is okay, but not great. And then once guns start hitting that 90,000, 100,000 DPS, that's when they start feeling really fun. I guess really powerful. But if a gun is under like 60,000 DPS, that's when you can really start feeling it be very weak, which as we see by our base numbers here, that's most of the weapons in the game. And before we all cry wolf here and go, oh my goodness, these guns suck, remember, we don't have Deadwire's Lightning Strike, which takes out like half the zombies' health. We don't have Napalm Burst that can completely destroy every single horde. I mean, we have Napalm Burst, but we don't have the augments that lets it destroy the entire horde. We don't have Molotovs, we don't have the augments for Cryo Freeze. And remember, we can now equip 2 minor augments, which is going to be huge for both Deadshot and Double Tap in terms of damage, and Vulnerability for the elemental pop. Yes, I would love to see a buff to these weapons, but they are not nearly as bad as people might say, at least from my rudimentary testing. In fact, I was able to get to health cap with this Peacekeeper Mark 1, and I had a ton of fun doing it. Be sure to check it out here and stay beautiful.